Hey guys, TechFi, and today I've got a review of the $60 or £60 SteelSeries Rival 5. So guys, let's get into this. So first of all, this is obviously a very different mouse to a lot of the ones I review. A lot of what I review are small, lightweight gaming mice. However, I am fully understanding that there is an audience for these bigger, heavier ergonomic mice, and I will bear that completely in mind and do understand that. So on from that, it's obviously a fairly heavy mouse at 85 grams. That being said, it is actually lighter than something like a G502, which is also a fairly big ergonomic mouse. Even if you do like a bit of a heavier mouse, I think 85 grams is a nice middle ground. It's not too heavy that you feel like you're dragging a brick about your desk, but it is not super light, as that can be off-putting for some people. They can overshoot their aim, or they just don't really like it. As for the dimensions, which I'll put on screen now, it is certainly large. It's about 128mm long, 68mm wide at the back, and 42mm high. From all this, it should be fairly clear that if you're a fingertip user, this mouse is probably going to be too big for you. If you're a claw user, then if you've got bigger hands, then yes, you might be able to claw this mouse. But if you've got smaller hands, mine are about 17cm by 8.5cm, and this mouse is definitely too big for me to claw comfortably. If you're a palm user, then this is going to be brilliant. Obviously, if you've got particularly small hands, then this mouse overall, while you may feel comfy palming it, it may not be the mouse for you. You may need to accept you've got small hands and go look for a mouse that's smaller, as even though, like I said, it may be comfortable, for you to perform optimally in game, it might be a bit big. However, for most people, if you are a palm user, then this mouse is definitely going to be a good choice. It is feature packed. It has 9 buttons, if you include that this button on the side here can go up and down to have different functions. This is obviously a lot, and for most people playing first person shooters and things like that, that's going to be way too many. It's a big marketing point. That being said, they do specifically explain on their website how it's designed for League of Legends. That's personally not a game that I play. However, I can see from what they're saying, but let me know in the comments if you do play it, that is going to be very useful. One thing I do need to point out though is that this button on the front, unless you have really big hands, even if I'm completely palming it, I can't really reach that. It has got a nice design, so you can kind of press the side of it. However, most people, especially if you do have those smaller hands, aren't going to be able to reach that button particularly comfortably. Another big thing for me was in games where I wasn't trying to use the button at all, I'd find myself knocking this button up. That can be particularly annoying, and I think for a lot of people that might be an issue. If you're enjoying the video, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, and the best way to ask me any questions is join the TechFi Discord. The clicks were actually pretty good, with very little pre and post travel. They're very springy. Here's a little sound test for those of you interested of the left click and the right click. Mine do feel noticeably different though between the left and right click, which I do think is a little bit weird. Similarly, the rest of the buttons are just fairly nice to use, and I have no issues with them really. If you're interested, here's a sound test of all the buttons. And then for the scroll wheel, I actually did quite like this scroll wheel. It's distinct between each step, and it has a fairly satisfying click to it. The sensor is SteelSeries TrueMove Air with up to 18,000 dpi. For me, it was not even tracking on 3 playing cards, which makes this have one of the lowest lift-off distance on any mouse I've tried. That's really great to see, especially with it being a bit heavier and a bit bulkier. You're not going to be lifting it up as far to readjust, so that low lift-off distance is excellent to see. For the rest of the features on the mouse, it unfortunately doesn't quite live up to its price tag. The cable is fine, but it's not particularly flexible, it's quite stiff, and for $60 it's really not good enough. Most of you are going to buy this mouse and think, what am I on about, if you've not used a more flexible cable before, and it's definitely not horrendous. So if I'm being fair, for that $60 price tag, it's not good enough. I've had mice with $40 with much better cables. Similarly for the feet, they're not terrible, but once again for that price tag, they're definitely not amazing. They glide well enough, but they're just standard feet that I'd expect similarly on the SteelSeries Rival 3, for example, which is just $30. It also has really cool RGB. Obviously SteelSeries software is excellent and you can customize it lots. That leads me on to the verdict, and that it's pretty boring. It just ticks all the boxes that 14-year-old me would have gone, oh, that's a cool mouse, look. They say it's got a lightweight, they say it's got really cool RGB, it looks cool, it's got 9 buttons, oh, this one can go up and down. I would have thought that was so cool and just Not considered the fact that as a shape, it's nothing extraordinary. It's probably not the right shape and size for you if you're in a situation like I would have been. So that's why I ended up with the Logitech G502 and was not aiming as well as I could have been for a long time. That being said, if you do have fairly big hands, if you are a palm user, then ultimately I think this is a great option. It doesn't quite feel like it's worth $60. I really would only price this at $45 or $50, but you are paying for that SteelSeries brand, and ultimately you'll probably be pretty happy with it. If you're looking for something a bit cheaper and smaller from SteelSeries, then go check out my review of the SteelSeries Rival 3. If you want to look as cool as me, and I know you do, you can get yourself some merch at techify.co.uk/merch. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.